Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Purposeful Conversations here in the PAMI Code Facebook group. And today we have a very special guest, and we're going to talk about a topic that I very rarely talk about. It's almost like a taboo topic in some cultures, and it would be good to have this conversation in our group today, especially considering that we're talking about purpose, action, motivation, and energy. And I think there are elements in this conversation that that will uplift our energies, if you like. So our guest for today is a relationship coach, and we are here to talk about sacred sexuality. So, without further ado, let's all welcome Haley Helveston. Hi, Haley.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm really excited to talk to you about this because we are friends on Facebook, and I saw that you are a relationship coach, and you talk a lot about sacred sexuality, but I really don't know what this is about. This is something that is fairly new to me. So, could you share with us in a nutshell what that means?
Yeah, so really it's just a sacred way of looking at sexuality. Like what you say about how it was taboo, it's so interesting to me when I first started switching from what I was doing with health coaching to now I'm doing relationship coaching. I noticed that so many people don't talk about sexuality. And so for me, it's let's talk about it in a sacred, healthy way, but let's discuss it because a lot of people aren't even discussing it in their relationships. And how
Right.
can you have the sex life you want if you don't discuss it?
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I was going to ask why this is important in relationships. Why is it important to discuss sexuality in a sacred from a sacred perspective, and to talk about it in with your partner?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this is extremely important to discuss because I speak to women all the time that are unfulfilled and yet they aren't telling their partners. And I'm like, you're talking to me about this. Okay, this is great. But when we start working together, you're going to have to communicate to him that, hey, maybe you've been faking orgasms your whole marriage. Or maybe you're unfulfilled about something he does sexually, but you're not telling him. And so I think it's extremely important because when people don't talk about this, it really puts a wedge between the people where they go like this.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe there are some couples in a relationship where they feel uncomfortable about talking
Mhm.
about this. Maybe they don't want to offend their partner, or maybe they find it a little bit embarrassing. Is this something that you see in with your clients from time to time? Is this a struggle that they face from time to time?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, even men, there's a lot of pressure on men sexually to perform and to last, in their size. Like, that's a lot of pressure. And so I think that it's shame over discussing that too, with
Right.
even having issues.
Yeah, and thinking about the issues, what sort of common problems and issues that you help your clients with? What are the common themes, if you like, when it comes to you and your work as a relationship coach, and the struggles that they are facing in terms of their sexuality?
Hmm. Yeah, so I think for, obviously for men, it could be he doesn't last long, he can't keep erection, and I would even say porn addiction. And then for women, it's maybe she knows how to please herself, but she can't have an orgasm with her partner. Or it could be, past sexual trauma, her relationship with her body, just being able to communicate her desires, figuring out what those are. Because a lot of times women don't even know what they want.
Mm. So how do you help them with that? So for example, you have a client, and she's actually not experiencing orgasms, or she's not finding satisfaction with anyone. Um,
Mm-hmm.
where do you start?
Yeah, so sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thanks. Yeah, so I think one of the things is women. I mean, I told one of my girlfriends this who became one of my clients. I said, girl, you just need to go 30 days every day self pleasure. Try something different sexually, get a deal. Like, I'm not a big fan of the vibrator because I think that women get too dependent, but just explore and experiment and like release the obligation of, I need to orgasm. That's so much pressure. And so one of the things where if a woman isn't having an orgasm and she comes to me, one of the first things I'm going to do is like, let's just take orgasm and put it here and let's just start developing a healthy relationship with their body and really start to figure out what's going on with it. Because especially nowadays in our society, women, we're very, just go, go, go. And we're in our head and not in our body.
Right. So it's being aware of actually what works for you, and getting to know your body more, and understanding what's actually good for you. And I think you're right. There might be some pressure for women to actually experience orgasm. And the more pressure that they have, the harder, the more difficult it comes for them. So I mean, with your advice in terms of just exploring and understanding your body is a really good way. But I'm guessing there might be those who are uncomfortable with that. I mean,
Oh yeah, definitely.
how do you liberate them, if you like, and to say that it's actually okay, it's to explore. How do you get past that barrier? Because yeah, as you know, there's so much taboo around this
Hmm.
topic.
Hmm.
And no, for me, I'm coming from a Catholic, traditionally very religious family. And in our culture, for example, in the Philippines, this is like, a taboo topic. People don't actually talk about this. So how do you get past these barriers, and for women who feel uncomfortable about doing that?
Yeah, and that's a big thing that has been coming up. I'm from Alabama, so I relate to your conservative background. I grew up Methodist, so conservative Christian. I'm not, obviously doing that anymore. But what I'm saying is that I think that part of it is, like, I had a client come to me once, and she wouldn't do that, and so it's really working through that. Because I did a post on Instagram today about that, because so many women still have the belief that their pleasure is not theirs. It's the man is supposed to please them. And yes, he is part of it, and he is he's going to be there to help you, but it's not his job to fulfill all of our desires. And we have to tell them what we like. And so
Mm.
for her to not want to self pleasure or completely be like, no, that's my husband's job. Why would I do that? Like, that's weird to masturbate. That's completely giving her power away.
Right. And actually, just taking it from a psychologist's perspective, the way I work with clients, whether it is overcoming fears or overcoming self-confidence and self-doubt issues, it's identifying those beliefs that they might hold about something. And in your case, with your clients, they might be holding these beliefs that it is their husband's responsibility to give them pleasure. When you explore these beliefs, you can actually ask the questions, is it true? Is it logical? Is it constructive? This is something that it's a repetitive theme. It's a recurring theme in most of my books. And, it applies in so many aspects of our lives, that the way we experience things, the way we behave and interact with people, usually there is an underlying belief about that. And when you explore those beliefs, whether it's with sexuality or whether it's
Hmm.
just about
Hmm.
self-confidence and about your self-worth and so on, you need to understand where those beliefs are coming from and challenge them if need be, because sometimes these beliefs are limiting our experiences and our ability to find satisfaction and pleasure in life generally.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and I think that, people don't make the connection between sex and their life, but really who you are in bed is who you are in life. And so for me, part of my story why I'm doing what I'm doing, I couldn't have an orgasm because I was on an antidepressant, on birth control. So completely shut off from my sexuality. And then if you add on top of that was the programming of growing up in the South and religious. And so it was getting past all of that and then realizing that, oh, wow, my whole body's orgasmic. This is so exciting. And like exploring that and continuing to, and then realizing that, when I did that, like my whole life changed.
Yeah. So how did that ripple into your life when you finally found pleasure sexually? How did that transfer to other aspects of your life? Because for us in the PAMI code, PAMI actually means, purpose, action, momentum, and energy. And there's something about, uplifting your energies and how that impacts, other aspects of your life. So how did that ripple into other aspects of your life?
Mm, like everything, when this was 3 years ago, I was in a relationship that wasn't that great. I wasn't having an orgasm. Um, I was trying to grow my health coaching business, but I didn't really like it. And then I was also working in a yoga studio. And so from completely changing that to realizing 2018, went on a sexual retreat. And then I really discovered like, oh, wow, like I had a vision on the retreat. And so it just really opened my eyes to the fact that like sexually most women are experiencing like here, and then there's all
An
this.
expanded an
Yes.
expanded consciousness.
Yeah. And so it's so exciting. And I think that, so for me, it was really switching from that. And then I started interviewing people on my YouTube channel and coaching and doing workshops. And so I think it's constantly evolving, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I've actually seen your YouTube channel, and you're having conversations that most people will feel a little bit unsure whether they want to
Mm-hmm.
listen to it in public.
Yeah.
But you are quite open, and I think it's good to have these conversations because people will experience some similar struggles, and it's good to have an understanding of where these struggles might be coming from, and how you can overcome it, and realize that you're not the only one who struggle with this. But I mean, in terms of having conversations about sacred sexuality, why do you think um it's still taboo, and do you think there will come a time when society will be more open, and have these conversations more openly without any taboo associated with it?
I pray. But I don't know, to be honest with you. I can't tell. Because so many pockets of our society and our country are really open. Like, hey, I'm in an open relationship. I'm in a poly relationship. I'm a swinger. There's all these different groups, but then of course there's the monogamous relationship that's sexless.
Mm.
So I think that I don't know. It's getting better.
Yeah,
But
for me, I I'm just thinking about the swinging 60s though. Because you've had like some kind of sexual revolution at that time, and for us, from a psychological perspective, there were a lot of sex studies,
oh yeah,
understanding pleasure, and all the different ways people can express themselves sexually. So those happened actually around the 60s and the 70s, and I'm not really quite sure what happened after that, why we are going back, or it's sort of stagnated, in terms of having these conversations more openly. But I don't know, what do you think about that?
I think to answer your point, I think it was like, okay, now we can discuss sex, but from where we are now to then, has much changed?
Yeah, what
Because
do
a
you
lot of
think? Go on.
oh no, I was just going to say, like, for me, when I was going through that whole period of, like, I literally remember seeing a therapist at the time, and I was like, what's wrong with me? I can't have an orgasm. Am I one of those women that's going to be like faking orgasms in her 50s? Like, I don't feel anything sexually. And so I think that there's, for me, I'm really open about what I'm doing. So I'm always talking about this, like in airplanes and traveling and just wherever I am. And it's so fascinating because people's face will turn red and they're like,
What are you talking
so
about?
it's really weird because I'm like, aren't you married? Shouldn't you be having sex? So I don't know.
Yeah, I think there might come a time when people will talk more openly about it. Surely, I've seen in some countries, in Scandinavian countries, for example, in other places in Europe, where they have sex education at a very early age. So it's not really so much of a taboo topic. This is something that um children understand, that this is something that humans do. And there's actually nothing to be embarrassed about, and some people might struggle, and it's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to actually talk about it, if you're having issues, or if you're not experiencing pleasure or anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
with your conversations on YouTube, and for those viewers here who might want to watch and
Mm-hmm.
have a listen to those conversations, what's your channel called?
It's called Your Guide to Love.
Your guide to love. And what sort of topics do you talk about in your channel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so nothing's off limits. You name it, we talk about it. But really in pertaining to sexuality, spirituality, and health.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've talked all about porn addiction to not having orgasms to like today I'm interviewing a woman at 2:30 about money because a lot of women, they're struggling financially, and women were taught, oh, our husband will be, he'll provide for us financially, which is bullshit, and so I'm really all about empowering women on all levels.
Wow.
So
So
we're
it's
going to be
it's
talking about
not just about sexuality after. So you're also talking about all those other aspects as well. Well, with love and relationship. Is
yeah,
that
because people
correct?
struggle and think about what are the two reasons people fight over money and sex.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. So you have those covered. And in terms of strategy, so when someone comes up with a problem, do you
Mhm.
teach them strategies? What common strategies do you teach your clients?
That really depends on what they're dealing with. I mean, again, I think so much of it too is mental. Like I look back now, and when I literally thought, my body was broken, whatever. Now I'm like, oh my gosh. I think part of it was because my nervous system was just so overreactive in fight or flight. And so it really depends. Like to answer your question, it really depends on whatever the person is dealing with. But
Hmm.
I also think it's opening your mind to the fact that everything is related. So if you're dealing with an issue in one area, you're most likely struggling in other areas.
Right. And yeah, it's all connected. And yeah, again, taking it back from the psychology perspective, because my background is in psychology, there's
Mm-hmm,
a lot around mindset
mm-hmm.
and the beliefs that you're holding, because your beliefs
Yep.
will inform your behavior and your interaction with other people, and it could influence the way you experience these interactions. And yeah, just being able to explore the beliefs that you hold and the mindset that you have could actually make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So Haley, if there is something that you would like to say to our viewers, any parting messages, and where can they find you if they want to connect with you?
Okay. Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I had a great experience doing it. I hope that you learned something from it. You can contact me on Instagram at haley.helveston or on Facebook with just my name, or on YouTube, it's Your Guide to Love. And let me know whatever you're struggling with in your relationships. And if I can help you, I will. If not, I can send you to someone who can.
Awesome. Very straightforward. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Haley. And I really do admire your openness about, talking about
Yeah.
sexuality and taking it
Mm-hmm.
from a sacred perspective, because
Mm-hmm.
certainly, in some aspects of our culture, you have the commodification of women,
Oh,
for
yeah.
example, the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
commodification of sexuality. Taking it from a sacred perspective, and talking about it in this way opens up the possibility that actually it does impact on our experiences, it impacts on our relationship, and it ripples into all other aspects of our lives. So thank
Oh,
you
yeah.
for being so open about this, for creating a platform as well, or through your channel, so people can have this open dialogue and discussion about this topic. And hopefully, you'll make that impact and make this topic less of a taboo than it is today.
Definitely. Thank you.
So everyone, thanks for joining us today. Feel free to reach out to Haley if you need to get in touch with her. But we'll catch up again next time for another purposeful conversations with Emmy here in the Pami Code Facebook group. Until then, take care and bye for now. Bye.
Bye.